Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Mobeen Ahmed, and I am a disciple from New York. I have been a disciple in the Tariqa Karkariya since December 2020. I took Bay'ah on December 23rd, I believe, and after a couple months, after about 5-6 months, Sidi Sheikh Qadsallahu Sirra placed me into Khalwa. So Khalwa, just for your information for those who don't know, is the act of spiritual seclusion, the act of seclusion based on the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, who used to go to Ghar Hira, Mount Hira, the cave of Hira, and seclude himself for long periods of time, engaging in acts of ibadat and acts of worship and remembrance, dhikr, and where many things would be unveiled to him, and that's where the angel Gabriel visited him. So in the Tariqa Karkariya, which is the lineage is from Sheikh Alawi, the Khalwa really received its distinct flavor from Sheikh Alawi. Before, it used to be disciples going out into the wilderness and engaging in continuous remembrance. So Sheikh Alawi really confined it to a specific room and having the disciple fast and non-stop engaging in the dhikr of the divine name, which is Ism Jalala, Allah. So Sidi Sheikh, his practice is to put disciples in the Khalwa. The room of the Khalwa is equipped with a bathroom. The disciple is not to leave for 3 days minimum, although there have been disciples who finished in 2 days, some disciples who have finished in 4 or 5. It depends on Sidi Sheikh and the disciple at hand. So the room of the Khalwa is in the Zawiya, which is located in Morocco, northern Morocco. And the preparation for the Khalwa is that, so as you know that when you take Bay'ah, you begin to see the Nur of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the light of God. And you are to, through maintaining the daily litany, the wird, the light of God in your mind, in the eyes of your heart, is you have to maintain constancy and get it to grow to the size of about a moon. And when you have achieved this consistently, Sidi Sheikh puts you into Khalwa. This means you are prepared or ready for that. In the Khalwa, you will receive the secret of God. It's called the Sir. Some disciples receive 1 or 2. More often than not, you receive the first secret of the path. So my story, I was put into Khalwa on I believe Thursday night or Wednesday night, and I fasted for 3 days. I was in there for 3 days. On the first day, I went in there after Maghrib. My job was to recite the name Allah constantly. Sidi Sheikh told me that the way of reciting is to say, to stretch the last vowel out. So you would say Allah, Allah, non-stop. You were only to take a break when you heard the adhan, and then you were to pray the fard of the salah, of prayers. Fajr, Asr, Fajr, Zuhr, Maghrib, Asr, Isha. Yes. So the first day, Sidi Sheikh said to assemble rings. This is called ratak, which is to assemble. And basically you close your eyes, sit there, and then as you begin to invoke, basically rings of light will come together. There's usually one of two things happen. Either rings of light come together, or rings of light, they grow into your they grow. That's your job of the first night. The next day after Maghrib, Sidi Sheikh comes to you. He asks you what you've done, what you've accomplished, what you've seen. The first night I had done that. I was in the beginning very anxious. I didn't know if I could do it. What would happen? I felt very unworthy, unable, distracted, unable to focus. But a disciple told me to really go into it with the mindset of, I'm in my grave, I'm gonna meet Allah, forget everything, you leave your phone outside, which was difficult, but I think necessary. And my experience on the first night to gather the rings of light, the halakat, was actually, after 5, 6, 7 hours of non-stop invocation, only a few minutes of assemblage happened. But at that point, I was so both exhausted and also happy that I had done the work that I was instructed to. So the Sheikh came, I told him what I had accomplished, and then he said, now that you've accomplished these rings, you should go inside and see what's inside them. He said, enter. This happens with niyyah, with your intention. So you put in your heart the intention to enter these rings, to enter these halakat that you've assembled, and see what's inside. I said, okay. He left. I continued to invoke, now with the intention that I would like to enter these rings. This was probably around the time of Fajr, that after assembling more rings, I started to enter them. And by entering, I mean like they completely filled my vision. And once I had entered these rings of light, I saw, many things happened. First, I saw the entire universe, and I was like flying through the universe and seeing different planets, seeing different galaxies, seeing our Milky Way. And then I wanted to visit each of these planets that I saw. One of the first planets that I went to, I was like underground and in caves, and that's where I saw like families of jinn living, doing their thing. But then there was one moment when I was watching them, but then they noticed that I was there. I think it was like dinner time. They noticed I was there, and I kind of got scared, so I decided to leave that planet or that dimension. After that, I wanted to, I was still conscious of what I was doing and where I was and who I was. So, it's been a dream of mine to visit the dinosaurs and see how they lived and how big they were. So I had that intention, and then I like traveled through time, and I was like an ant in 650 million years ago, or whenever the dinosaurs were around. And I was watching, it was nighttime, I was watching these massive beasts going overhead and moving around, and I thought I was gonna get stomped, so I was like, let's get out of here as well. And then, I had been in the Zawiya for around 3 weeks, and so I wanted to see what my family was up to. So Zawiya is in Morocco, my family lives in New York. I went and I was witnessing my family in our kitchen, and my grandmother was over. And then once I made sure that everything was okay, then I left there, and then I saw the entire universe coalescing or going back into the name Allah. So there was a massive, like, written the name Allah, and the entire universe and everything into it was going into the center of the Ha. And I was witnessing this, and then I also went into the center of the Ha, where the entire universe was emanating from or disappearing into. And I also experienced a state of, the closest thing I can describe it to is like an ego death, or like a mini fana, in the sense that I could actively feel myself like disintegrating or approaching as like non-being. And my nafs was very terrified of that, as anyone would be. Like, imagine you're on your deathbed and you can feel yourself not existing anymore. So I returned from that. I also saw, so anyways, after that, I was very happy to, it was great. I was so happy to be like flying around, and it felt like I was not in the room anymore. My eyes were open. I was witnessing this. To be honest, like afterwards, I was like exhausted because of all this movement. So it was a very real experience. After that, the Sheikh comes again, and he said, I explained to him what I had seen, and he said, "Do you understand the first secret?" And I told him what I understood from all of my visions. And he said, "Yes, now you have the first secret." And then he said, you're done from Khulwa after the second day, but I'm going to leave you in here so that, because it will be better for your journey in the long run. And this time I want you to fill this entire room with nur, with light, so that you can't even see yourself or anything. Just fill the room with light. I said, okay, job number 3, let's get it. He leaves. I sit, and again, this time my eyes are open. My eyes have been open and closed during this entire time, but this time I'm really focused on, eyes open. And I begin to invoke Allah, and I begin to see my entire hands and everything start to be like submerged in this glow, to the point where I was unable to see in front of me. And yeah, that was then at Maghrib, Sidi Shaykh came again. I told him what I experienced. MashaAllah, Alhamdulillah, I left the Khulwa, and Alhamdulillah, since then, Sidi Shaykh says, after you leave the Khulwa, your entire life is a Khulwa. Like, you are always now in seclusion. So the actual act of Khulwa is like this intensification of a process that is meant to continue outside. So once you have experienced being alone with Allah, being alone with the alone, the kind of knowledge that is given to you continues to play a role in your life. So Sidi Shaykh says that once you have the sir, once you receive the first secret, you have to clothe yourself in the secret. You have to always be thinking about the secret. You have to eat with the secret, walk with the secret, and approach everything with the secret. And this continues as you attain more secrets. It is a rule of tasawwuf, Sufism, and adab, that you do not tell anyone the secret, but that because it's always on your mind, you're always thinking through it, in a sense you're always talking about the secret. Anyways, that was the experience of my Khulwa. Since then, I think it's been about 2 years. There have been more experiences of similar things that I experienced in my Khulwa and throughout my life. For example, one time I had a dream after shuruk, after sunrise, where I'm sleeping and I'm at this Chinese temple, and it's like we're having a contest. There's me, there's like this Buddhist monk, there's a few other religious figures, and we're each showing what we can do. And the Chinese monk or wise person, what he does is he starts making, it's a group of people, he starts turning himself and other people into different animals, lions, tigers, dragons. And I was like, all right, pretty cool, let's see what I can do. So first I said Allah, and everything became light. Me and the other person was still there, but the entire world and the universe around us became light. Then I said Allah again, and then we all disappeared, even me, and there was only Allah. And then I woke up and I felt great. Anyways, this has been the experience of my Khulwa. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope that whoever is watching learns from this experience, is attracted by this experience, and inshallah would desire to visit the Zawiya and experience this for themselves. In the end, if I have said anything wrong, all the mistakes are mine, and it is by the barakah and grace of our Shaykh, Sidi Shaykh Muhammad Fawzi Al-Karkari Qaddasallahu Sirra, that this experience was possible, since he is the living wali of our time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.